What's going on, everyone? It's Ted Carr here, and in this video we're going to be talking about why I never mix fat with sugar and why you probably shouldn't either. And if you're wondering, Ted, why do you look like you just woke up? It's because I just woke up like 5 minutes ago. Here's the tip of the day. Never miss an opportunity to create content. I've done that far too long. The best days of my life are when I create content and upload it for you. The worst days of my life are few and far between, but they're most likely to happen on the days I don't create content. So there's something for you. All right. Why I never mix fat with sugar. And when I say fat with sugar, I don't mean white sugar with oil. I mean why I never mix avocados with bananas. I used to do this in the past. Maybe you'll find some videos of me doing this in the past, mixing avocados and bananas. Big mistake. This is why you'll never see me mix avocados with dates. I did do this actually once this summer and I really regret it. But I was desperate and I was like, screw it, let's do it. But I will never really do this. I mean, I say never, I mean like I'll avoid it at all costs. If you go out for a raw food gourmet dinner or you go out to a restaurant or something, then you're going to mix fat with sugar. That's just what the restaurant does because things taste better usually when fat and sugar are mixed, especially when you add salt in the mix. But you want to avoid it. And now every time I make dinner at home or anytime I make breakfast or lunch or I'm out, I'm at grocery shopping, I'm never mixing fat and sugar. And if I do mix it, I mix it in a way that doesn't negatively affect me. And I will explain that in just a sec right here. So, for the purpose of this video, green is going to indicate fat. And the way you're going to remember that is because it's like green and oily. And if you drink too much of it, you vomit. Ugh. And red indicates sugar because red is very, boom, attractive. You see it. And that's what kids run for, the sugar. It's like, oh, sugar, sugar, sugar. Not just kids, but humans. We love sugar. So this is sugar and this is fat. Okay? Now, here's what happens. I'm going to, bear with me here. I'm no Picasso just yet, but maybe one day. This is your bloodstream, okay? Let's just say this is your bloodstream. It's a stream of blood, all right? And inside your bloodstream, you have cells. We draw some circles like that and indicate cells, okay? These are all your cells. Okay, and each one of those cells has a insulin receptor site. So it has a site. We'll draw another little bump here, call it insulin receptor site. And what the insulin receptor site does is it allows the body to uptake sugar into the cell. Make sense? So here's the bloodstream, here's all the cells, and those little bumps, those little nodules are insulin receptor sites on the cells. They allow the cells to uptake sugar. Now, by the way, I don't know if anything I'm telling you is true right now, but this is the way I was taught, and it really makes sense. But I have no way of proving this. So you could say, oh, Ted, you're wrong, and I could be wrong. But this is the way it was taught to me, and it doesn't really matter if this is right or wrong, because when you go and you physically sit down and eat fat with sugar, you're going to get messed up, and you're going to wonder why. And I'm explaining why right here in the best way I know how. So even if this is just an analogy, just bear with me because it really works, okay? So, again, fat, sugar. So when you mix fat and sugar together, let's say you eat an avocado, and you eat the avocado, boom, there's the avocado, you pit the avocado, and it goes into your belly, or into your body. And then what happens is, because it's oily, any sort of oil, whether it's coconut oil or avocado oil or cashews or almonds or pecans, whatever, any sort of fat, even durian to a degree. Durian is quite low fat, it's about 30% fat. But avocados and nuts and seeds are like 80% plus. So the oil goes in here, okay? Oil, oil, oil. Now your whole bloodstream has oil in it. And what ends up happening with these cells is the oil, I don't know if you've ever played with oil before, or moisturized oil in your hand or anywhere else in your body, but it kind of has a way of not sticking, but like attaching itself. It stays there. You know, it's not sticky like fruit sugar sticky, but it's a moisturizer, and it like stays on there, and it's hard to get off. No matter how much you rub your hands, like the oil just stays on there. And so eventually, though, after a while, the oil will rub in, and then you will no longer have the oil on your skin. It just rubs right in, and eventually it's not there. But it takes a while for that oil to rub in. So same thing with the cells in your blood, in your body. The oil covers them and it coats them. So now each of your cells is covered in oil. And what ends up happening is the sugar that you then eat comes in as well. Let's say this is a strawberry because it's red. Okay, it's a strawberry, and you eat the strawberry, and strawberries are quite low in sugar, so this might not have a drastic effect. But if you were to mix avocados with something like dates or bananas or something with much higher sugar, mame sapote, for example, much more sugar comes in. Even potatoes, you're mixing avocados with potatoes, it's like much more drastic effect here. So sugar comes in, and now it can't get into the cells because the cells are being blocked. And so what ends up happening is instead of going into the cell where it belongs, it's now floating around your bloodstream. So now you have high blood sugar. And high blood sugar doesn't just mean that you're going to get more tired. It also is an indication of what's to come, which is poor digestion. So if you're experiencing poor digestion on a regular basis, and you're mixing things like, if you're mixing tahini with chickpeas, like tahini is pure fat, basically. It's 80% fat. Chickpeas, on the other hand, are like 70% carbs, maybe 60% carbs. The other percent some protein and some fat. But most foods out there are either high carb or high fat. And if you're mixing the two together, you're going to experience digestive issues. And so if you're experiencing digestive issues on a regular basis, it's probably because you're mixing fat with the sugar. Now, let's look at what happens when you just have plain sugar on its own. Okay, people say, oh, Ted, isn't too much sugar bad? Not if you do it this way. Okay, and I'm also going to explain how you can mix fat with sugar so that this doesn't happen. So again, here's your bloodstream, and you got these cells. They're insulin receptor sites. Okay, now let's say you eat a big meal of bananas. Okay, I'll draw my banana. Whoop, looks like an eggplant, but we'll call it a banana. And it goes into the bloodstream. Now, immediately, you know what happens? This is a crystal clear, clean bloodstream. This is what happens after, 12 hours of not eating. If you're a healthy individual, your bloodstream's finally clean and clear, and they can uptake new nutrients. Now, this might not be the case for you if you're like super unhealthy or you're super old, but for like the average human being, this is what it's going to look like for you after about 12 hours of not eating, which is why intermittent fasting is so important. So you eat some food, sugar comes in, boom, it's in. Boom, it's in the cell. Boom, it's in the cell. It actually doesn't go there, it goes into the insulin receptor site. Boom, into the insulin receptor site, into the insulin receptor site. Insulin receptor site, if you're wondering what I'm saying. Because I'm saying kind of quickly, it might sound like I'm mumbling or slurring my words. But insulin receptor sites, that's where the sugar goes. Boom, done. Everyone's happy. And this is this happens a lot better too, by the way, if you're insulin resistant. I mean, big reason you're probably insulin resistant is because you've been eating fat and sugar for too long together. But if you're insulin resistant, or people out there who are insulin resistant, the reason this might not happen is because your insulin receptor sites are quote unquote damaged. They're just worn down, and there might not be enough of them readily available to uptake all the sugar. So what you got to do is you got to make sure you're sleeping a ton. You got to make sure you're eating really healthy, and you got to make sure you are exercising at least 3 to 4 times a week. Like going to the gym, going for some runs, going for some jogs, going for some swims, some bikes, whatever. Moving, getting your heart rate up. Walking alone is great. Walking is probably like the best exercise ever, but it's not enough. It's like saying like the most nutrient dense food ever is like spinach, but it's not enough because you can't get enough calories in. So that's like walking. Walking is like probably the greatest exercise ever, but it's not enough. We gotta add in some intensity. We gotta do some hill climbing. We gotta get the heart rate up, pumping. The more exercise you do, the better your digestion is going to be, which is why a lot of Olympians and top athletes, professional athletes out there can eat crap food and then digest things really, really well because they're exercising so much. Now, once you eat your banana, it goes into the blood, into the cells. You can then go ahead, I'd wait about 15 minutes, let the banana go in there, do its thing. I'd like to think 1 banana is equivalent to 15 minutes of digestion time. It could be 10 minutes if you're a bit younger or fitter, but whatever. Let's say 15 minutes. So if you eat 2 bananas, you have to wait about 30 minutes for that fully to digest. If you eat 4 bananas, maybe about an hour for it to fully digest. If you eat 8 bananas, 2 hours to fully digest. Now, but I like to wait at least after I have my last bit of carbs. I like to wait at least half hour to an hour, depending if the carb is raw or depending if the carb is cooked. I like to wait about half hour before I then eat my fat. If I wait an hour, it's going to be way better. But still, even if I wait half hour, it's going to be like a million times better than if I were to mix them two together. So after I eat the banana, then I can go ahead and eat the avocado. And then I can let the fat go in there and do its thing. Because why do I care? The cell's already gotten the sugar. So now let the fat come in. Okay? Another way to look at this, another way to remember this is to just think of a water slide. Okay? And this analogy I'm about to tell you right now, this is good wisdom. This is good knowledge about food combining in general. This is why you never want to mix dense foods with high water content foods, okay? So let me just erase this. This is why I never like to mix things like watermelon with dates. Even though watermelon's sugar and dates are sugar, I don't want to mix the two together because of this reason right here. So here's a slide, here's a ladder, okay? At the top of this ladder, there's a water slide. Okay? And as we know, water slides have like two sides, you don't fall off. And maybe there are tunnels, right? So those are a tunnel. So you can't actually see inside there. It's like a tunnel, just like tubes in your body, tunnels. And at the end, boom, you have a nice big area to swim. Okay, so that's the water slide. And just like a water slide, when you're eating food, you want to make sure that the fast kids who are in line, let's say there's a line right here, and there's a bunch of different kids. There's skinny kids. I hope nobody gets triggered here, but there's skinny kids, and then there are, let's just say, some bigger boys. So there's skinny kids and there's some bigger boys. Right? And if you're a lifeguard and you want to do your job properly, you want to make sure you put the skinny kids down the slide first. Because if you put the overweight kids down the slide first, what ends up happening is that they go down nice and slow because they're a bit overweight. They have more pressure on the plastic and they go and they kind of squeak their way down the slide. So the overweight kid goes down the slide first, and let's say he gets stuck like right here. Because, or not just stuck, but he's just so slow that he kind of like, after like 10 seconds of the slide, the lifeguard's like, okay, next, but this overweight kid, he's still stuck there right there. So the skinny kid goes down the next, woo, he goes down, but then guess what? He runs into the overweight kid, and then boom, they get a pile up. Oh my God, now there's like catastrophe, and then people are calling, mommy, 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 and there's a big pile up, and then the next kid goes down. Oh God, then the next kid goes down, another bigger boy goes down, and he's slow as well, and then the next skinny kid goes down. And it's just like a big pile up in there. It's a mess. And you're like, oh, why does my digestion suck? It's because you sent the skinny kids down and the overweight kids down at the same time. Instead, what if you did this instead, okay? What if instead of sending a mixture of the boys down, you just sent the skinny kids? Woo, woo, woo. Okay? Boom, no problem. They go down the slide. They're out of the way. Next thing you know, they're in the water. Then, sure. Then send Big Johnny. Send Big Johnny afterwards. Okay? Then let Big Johnny go and do his thing. Have his fun. Okay? You can still enjoy your avocados. You can still enjoy your fats. You can still enjoy the denser foods in life. But just don't mix them together. Okay? And you see this same thing play out at marathons. Who starts the marathon? When there's a big running race, who's at the front of the race? It's all the fastest runners. When the gun goes off, boom, the fastest runners take off. And at the end of the race, it's like a herd of elephants. At the very end, it's the slowest elephants. Boom, 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 they're going. The slowest runners, they're going. So, not calling humans elephants, but I mean, it's just the same analogy there in nature. It's like the fastest elephants go first, and then at the end, you get the slower elephants. If the slower elephants were in the front, or if the slower runners were at the front, all the fast runners would have to try and navigate their way through them. It would be a big pain in the ass. It's just like with your digestion system. You want to put the fastest to digest foods in first. And the way to determine what is the fastest to digest food is to look at the water content. So dragon fruits, what do you think? Super high water content. Watermelon, super high water content. Peaches, super high water content. Nectarines, super high water content. Berries, decently high water content. They're not like berries aren't usually like dripping with water like nectarines or peaches are, right? So it's even a little bit lower down the list. After that, we've got things like bananas. Where the heck's the water in that? Bananas are actually 80% water, if you can believe it or not. But you'd never know it by looking at it and by eating it. Like if you're thirsty, you don't go to a banana and eat a banana and think, that quenched my thirst. But they are actually about 80% water. But you just look at the density at it. And you think about, like, if I were to put this through a juicer, how much fiber would come out? If you put a banana through a juicer, you're getting like 90% of the freaking fiber coming out. So again, just think of what would I eat if I was super thirsty? And that is your high water content foods. And then, like I said, you got the bananas, then you got the mame sapotes, and you got the other sapotes. You got the really dense foods. You got the ackee fruit, and you got the avocado. This right here is why you don't want to be mixing your fats with your sugars, and this is why you don't want to be mixing your slow foods with your fast foods. Okay, so this is how you improve your digestion. If you are eating a healthy diet right now, and you're exercising, you're sleeping, and you're still wondering like why your digestion is screwed up, it's probably because you're mixing fat and sugar. So it's a basic rule. It's just like never mix fat with sugar as often as you can. I see people do it all the time still, and you can get away with it. But some of the symptoms of mixing fat with sugar are things like gas, things like bloat, things like just feeling of like there's like a rock in there. Fatigue is another one. So these are some of the symptoms, and this is how to avoid it. All right, send the skinny kids down the slide first, and never mix your fat with sugars. I hope this was helpful. If it was, great. Feel free to share this with a friend who may be experiencing some indigestion right now and needs to hear this. I'll see you all at the 2020 Canada Vegan Fest coming up in August. What is that you say? The 2020 Canada Vegan Fest? Yes, it's the 2020 Canada Vegan Fest, formerly known as the 2019 Canada Fruit Fest. It's the 2020 Canada Vegan Fest. And you can go there by going to CanadaVeganFest.ca. Right? That's what's happening in CanadaVeganFest.ca. That's how you can sign up for the wait list if tickets are not already on sale. If they're already on sale, go buck wild, get your tickets. But CanadaVeganFest.ca if you want to learn a lot more about nutrition, if you want to learn how to succeed on your diet, if you want to learn how to succeed with your fitness, if you want to learn how to succeed with your relationships, if you want to learn how to succeed with your online vegan business or your brick and mortar vegan business. It's all things vegan at the Canada Vegan Fest. And I'm super, super excited to see you there. Coming up August 7th, I believe it is. So book your calendar right now for August 7th. I'll see you there. We got an amazing lineup of speakers and presenters that you do not want to miss. All right, so that's it for now. Peace out, much love, and see you at the Canada Vegan Fest. Ciao.